Minnesota's winter identity isn't just snow and silence, it's motion under the ice. When lakes lock up, an entire travel culture wakes up. Plowed ice roads, portable shelters glowing at dusk, and a steady migration of anglers following walleye, perch, and northern pike across one of the most lake-rich landscapes on Earth. Ice fishing here is practical knowledge passed down through families and bait shops, shaped by fisheries science, tribal stewardship, and the realities of ice that can change in a single warm wind. Before any ranked list, one safety note belongs at the center of the story. No lake is safe ice by reputation alone. Early ice can be strong but unpredictable. Current, springs, narrows, and pressure ridges can create hazards all season. Check local ice reports, talk to a resort or bait shop, carry ice picks, and treat vehicles on ice roads as a local decision, not a rumor. With that grounded, here are 10 of Minnesota's best ice fishing lakes, ranked for the overall quality of walleye, perch, and pike opportunities, plus access, consistency, and the kind of winter travel experience that makes each place memorable. Number 10. Lake Winnibigoshish, often called Winnie, a broad, windswept basin near Deer River with a long reputation for perch and walleye. Winnie is part of a larger Mississippi headwaters system, and it fishes like a big, living piece of water. Flats, bars, and mid-lake structure that can hold roaming schools. Perch are a headline here, with winter anglers often targeting expansive mud and gravel transitions where bugs and small forage concentrate. Walleyes are present and can be excellent, especially around breaks and bars at low light. Northern pike are a constant possibility, particularly along weed edges and near remaining green vegetation early in the season. Access is strong through public landings and resort networks that often plow routes as ice thickens. A practical Winnie tip: bring mobility into your plan. When perch schools slide, the best day can belong to the angler willing to hop holes, watch electronics closely, and stay on fish rather than waiting for them to return. Number 9. Leech Lake, the state's third largest lake, a name that carries both natural grandeur and cultural depth. The lake lies within the Leech Lake band of Ojibwe Reservation, and the region's human history, trade routes, seasonal harvests, and modern stewardship sits alongside its fishing fame. Leech is a walleye destination with complex habitat, sprawling bays, rocky points, and breaks that set up classic ice patterns. Walker Bay is especially known for structure and clear water tactics, while other areas can offer more stained water comfort for fish and anglers alike. Perch opportunities exist, sometimes in pulses, and pike are plentiful enough that tip-ups are part of the winter skyline. Access points around Walker and other lakeside communities are well developed, but conditions vary widely across such a large lake. Best timing often centers on early ice for aggressive walleyes, and again in midwinter around stable patterns. Then, late season can bring renewed movement. On Leech, respect the scale. Wind can stack ice, create ridges, and shift travel routes overnight. Number 8. Lake Vermilion, a northern maze of islands, reefs, and deep basins near Tower and Sudan, where Minnesota's mining history meets boreal wilderness. Vermilion's structure is legendary, and that structure is why it shines under ice. Walleyes relate to edges, saddles, and reefs, while pike patrol cabbage remnants and bays where forage funnels. Perch can be present, though many anglers come for walleye and trophy-class pike potential. Because Vermilion is clearer than many southern lakes, anglers often lean on finesse, lighter leaders, subtler jigging strokes, and careful hole placement on break lines. Access is available through public landings and resorts, but navigation demands humility. Reefs and narrows that are harmless in summer can be tricky in winter if you don't know the plowed routes. A Vermilion tip. Focus on transition zones, rock to sand, sand to mud, especially near deep water. That's where winter fish often stage. Number 7. Lake Minnetonka, the metropolitan surprise. An ice fishery with serious potential just outside Minneapolis. Minnetonka's story is layered. Dakota history, steamboat-era tourism, Gilded Age lake culture, and now a modern, heavily used recreational hub. Under ice, it becomes a different place, quieter, more technical, and full of structure. Walleyes are present, and northern pike can be excellent, especially in bays with remaining weeds and forage. Perch can show up around flats and edges, though consistency varies by area. The advantage here is access and convenience, many public access points and a large network of bays that allow anglers to adjust to wind and ice conditions. The caution is pressure. Fish see a lot of presentations. Downsizing, using fluorocarbon leaders where appropriate, and fishing off the beaten path can matter more than on remote lakes. Best times often include early and late ice, when fish are more willing to roam shallow edges. Number 6. Milacs Lake. A name that sparks debate, devotion, and a lot of winter travel plans. Milacs has long been one of Minnesota's most famous walleye lakes, shaped by changing regulations, strong scientific management, and a fishery that has to balance biology with human passion. For ice anglers, Milacs remains a premier destination for walleye action and size potential, with bonus pike and occasional jumbo perch opportunities depending on year class strength. The lake is famous for rock reefs and gravel bars, and winter success often comes from fishing edges of structure where walleyes patrol at dawn and dusk. Access is extensive through resorts and public points, and many operations plow roads and offer current ice travel guidance. Milacs travel tip. Plan around the light window. Many anglers build their day around sunrise and sunset, using midday to scout, drill, and refine. Also, always check the current regulations and slot limits before you fish. This lake is closely managed and rules can change. Number 5. Lake of the Woods, the northern giant at the edge of the continent, where Minnesota meets Canada and the horizon feels bigger than the map. This is one of North America's iconic ice fishing destinations, especially out of the Baudette area, because it combines scale with a remarkably consistent winter walleye and sauger bite. Walleyes here often relate to mudflats and subtle contours rather than dramatic structure, and that's why local knowledge, roads, waypoints, and seasonal travel patterns matters so much. Perch exist, and pike can be a serious side mission, but the winter identity is walleye sauger. Access is highly developed through resorts that build ice roads, rent shelters, and provide daily updates. Best timing runs from first safe ice through late season, with many anglers finding midwinter stability productive when weather is steady. A Lake of the Woods tip. Bring glow and color into your tackle box. Stained water and low light can make glow jigs and high-contrast patterns especially effective, and dead sticks, set lines with live bait, often outfish constant motion when fish turn neutral. Number 4. Upper Red Lake, a shallow, big-water walleye factory that has become one of the state's most reliable ice destinations. Red Lake's modern story is one of recovery and management. After severe overharvest decades ago, strong regulation and cooperative stewardship helped rebuild an extraordinary walleye population. Under ice, Red is famous for action. Fish roaming a relatively featureless basin, responding well to a mix of jigging and set lines. Perch are present and can be targeted, and pike are common enough to keep tip-up anglers busy. Because the lake is shallow, light penetration and weather shifts can influence fish movement quickly. Snow cover can change the bite by changing the underwater light level. Access is excellent through numerous resorts that plow roads and offer day houses. Best times often include early ice and midwinter evenings when walleyes slide through in waves. A practical Red Lake note: because there's less structure to hide your mistakes, stealth matters. Keep noise down, manage your hole hopping thoughtfully, and use electronics to gauge whether fish are reacting positively or just inspecting and drifting away. Number 3. Rainy Lake, a border water classic near International Falls, where rock, current, and deep basins create a winter fishery with real variety. Rainy's history is tied to voyageurs, the fur trade, and the working river-lake corridor that helped shape the region. Today, it's a place where anglers can realistically chase walleyes, perch, and pike in the same trip, with the added intrigue of current areas that stay dynamic all winter. Walleyes often hold near breaks, neckdowns, and areas influenced by flow. Northern pike can be large and aggressive, especially near bays and edges with forage. Perch opportunities exist and can be excellent in the right basins and flats. Access around International Falls is solid, but ice can be more complex where current influences formation, so local guidance is especially valuable. Best times include midwinter when travel routes are established, and late ice when fish begin shifting towards spring patterns. Rainy Lake tip: treat narrows and river-influenced zones with extra caution. The fishing can be outstanding, but ice thickness can vary dramatically over short distances. Number 2. Lake Winnebago, the southern powerhouse near the city of Winnebago, famous across the upper Midwest for jumbo perch and strong walleye potential. This is a lake where winter fishing feels like a seasonal economy. Clusters of shelters, plowed routes, and a community rhythm built around ice conditions. Perch are the star, often relating to mudflats where they feed on invertebrates, and anglers here talk about schools the way birders talk about migrations. Walleyes add a strong low-light program, especially around edges and subtle contours. Northern pike are present and can be targeted along weed remnants and travel lanes. Access is widely available, but because this lake draws crowds, it's wise to arrive early on peak weekends and keep an eye on changing ice roads. Best timing often includes midwinter when perch patterns stabilize, though early ice can be excellent for both perch and walleye. A Winnebago tip: bring a perch-specific toolkit, small spoons, tungsten jigs, and fresh bait, because when jumbo perch show up, they can be selective, and subtle presentation changes can turn lookers into biters. Number 1. Lake Bemidji, the balanced northern standout, accessible, scenic, and consistently productive for the trio that defines Minnesota hardwater: walleye, perch, and pike. Bemidji sits in a region shaped by logging history and Ojibwe heritage, and it remains one of the most visitor-friendly winter towns in the state, with services, guides, and a strong ice fishing culture. What elevates Bemidji is variety. Walleyes relate to break lines and points, especially at dawn and dusk. Perch can be found on flats and transitions, and pike prowl weed edges and basin roots, with enough size potential to keep tip-up flags popping. Access is straightforward through public landings and local plowed routes when conditions allow, and the lake's layout makes it easier for newcomers to understand. Clear contours, identifiable structure, and plenty of fishable water without the intimidation of the very largest lakes. Best timing runs from early ice, when fish can be shallow and aggressive, through midwinter patterns on breaks, and into late ice when movement increases again. The Bemidji tip: fish it like a classroom. Start on a known break line, watch how fish respond on electronics, then adjust depth in small increments until you find the day's comfort zone. That simple method teaches you more here faster than on many lakes. Across all 10 lakes, A few travel-smart patterns repeat. Early ice can offer the most active fish, but it demands the most caution and the lightest footprint. Walk before you drive, and never assume yesterday's report applies today. Midwinter often rewards consistency, established ice roads, dialed-in depths, and predictable low-light walleye windows. Late ice can be electric, with longer days and fish shifting towards spring, but it's also when ice can weaken quickly around shorelines and current areas. If you want one practical strategy that works nearly everywhere in Minnesota, it's this. Combine a jigging line with a set line. Jig actively to call fish in, spoons, jigging wraps, or a lively jig, and keep a second rod or legal set line with a live bait presentation nearby to catch neutral fish that won't commit to motion. Add a tip-up for pike along a weed edge, and you've built a 3-species program without needing to chase rumors across the lake. Minnesota's best ice fishing lakes aren't just coordinates, they're winter communities, each with its own geography, tactics, and local lore. Choose a lake that matches your comfort with big water, your appetite for travel, and your willingness to adapt. The reward is a uniquely northern experience, learning to read the ice, the light, and the unseen life beneath your boots, where a walleye's silhouette can rise from the dark and turn a cold evening into a story you'll retell for years.